He sold us into slavery. And this is just a culmination and a beginning of the same thing that's been going on for 50 years. I was just handed a little note in that regard by one of our guys here. And I'd just like to read it to you because it kind of sums up a lot of things. And this was an email sent to our member. He says, I'm in a location where I have no high-speed internet. So I cannot see it yet, but yes, it is a scam. He's talking about the bailout. According to the Banking Association, they need only $81 billion to bail out the mortgages at risk. A $700 billion number came about because they just wanted a really big number while they were at it. Now they can buy back all the mortgages from Deutsche Bank, HSBC, Bank of India, and everyone that wants their paper cashed in. That's what it was about. At the expense of the dumb American taxpayer. And it's not me saying it. I laughed my southern end off when I saw they passed it. It was a global banker's bonanza. Read Financial Times, Pravda, India Daily, Le Monde, Aftenposten, Al Jazeera. All of those papers have articles about the bailout. The bankers are celebrating and dancing on the tables, probably drinking themselves into a stupor, even if they are Muslims maybe. They're so glad because now you can hand the mortgage notes back to the Americans and get their money back for their bad investments. There will be a lot more writing in the weeks to come, and since the taxpayers are stupid enough to pay it, let them be laughed at. It is not their bill. The U.S. is a corporation and not a country. The bill belongs to the U.S. corporation. They crammed the bailout package through before the people had the time to figure it out, and they're bailing out the whole world. If they really wanted to help the mortgage holders in distress, give the money to them and pay ahead a couple of years, and order the bank to refinance and correct their abuses in the mortgage contract. Now this is a banker talking. You found out, many others found out, but Joe Sixpack is too stupid to even look. Sorry, these are harsh words, but most likely well-deserved. I hear that many of the people that were changing their vote to pass the bill in the House were told that if the bill did not pass, the White House would institute martial law and do it by executive order. The banks would be closed down for about a week to restructure, and so there was no choice. The government has been hijacked. Now, how many folks in this room, let me see a show of hands, think that our country is in serious, serious trouble? Okay? How many folks in this room think that if we just followed the law, and most people don't really know what the law is, the real law is the Constitution for the United States. How many people in this room think that if we just followed the supreme law of the land, all our problems would gradually disappear? So now I know how you folks think. So I don't have to preach to the choir here anymore. Okay, I'm going to put this away. Ladies and gentlemen, the internet is rampant with video and audio and authors and patriots nationwide and worldwide that know what we just talked about and a lot more. And people that get most of their information off the television set don't know the things that we know, okay? They don't think about the things that we think about. And I'm here to tell you that it's our job to wake them up. And the way we do that is most conspiratorial things, most political backroom deals, the one thing they can't stand is exposure to the light of day. And so our job becomes one of publicity. It's just that simple. We have to counteract the major media that have been bought and paid for years and create our own media. We need to create a local group of citizens that interact with each other on a daily basis and keep each other up to speed. Not by rumor or innuendo, but by actual fact. Okay? So there are some solutions that will facilitate that whole concept. And if you'd like to call it something, I guess you could call it the Eureka Community Watch Program. Okay? I've been selling radio gear on the internet for years. I don't know, for those of you that don't know me, I've been a logger in this area for 26 years, equipment operator before that. We raised 8 children here and we have 7 grandchildren right here in the valley. And that's why I'm standing here today. It's not for me. I mean, you know, I've done all right. I haven't gotten rich, but I've really enjoyed living in Eureka. It's for those kids that we're here, most of us. We want them to have a shot at freedom. Now, you and I may agree to disagree on things like religion and politics in some respects and so on, but one thing we'll never disagree about, and that is freedom gives us the time necessary to sort all those other issues out. I visited back and forth. Just an example of some of the stuff that's going on the internet, and I hope you brought a pen and a pad, because I'm going to give you some real information here today. I want you to write down an internet address called newswithviews.com. Newswithviews, just spell it all out and run it together, no spaces.com. That's a collection of about a dozen, or actually 2 dozen, really astute authors on virtually every subject that you could think about or ask questions about, having to do with current political affairs, constitutional law, the state of the military, what law enforcement, local law enforcement officers should have for the correct attitude, and so forth. Newswithviews.com is really important. I get a lot of information from there. This article, I'm just going to read a little bit of this just to give you a flavor of it, is by a retired Sheriff Jim Reichel, and he was a sheriff of a county in Ohio for over 20 years. And he's writing on News with Views, and let me read a bit of this. The past couple of weeks we've watched the economy of the nation unravel in a series of consistent and unrelenting economic catastrophes of unprecedented gravity. The fact is that the whole financial system was, prior to these events, deeply touched by rot, decay, and corruption that was consciously papered over and hidden by the clandestine and criminal machinations of corporation officers and a great number of debased career politicians who are complicit by virtue of the sale of their integrity for money. Notice this is a different flavor than you get in the news media. Okay. It is a sad fate of the people today to be subject to such and to have their destinies delivered into the hands of the debauched and debased quasi-mobsters that rule over them. I could go on. I could read you the whole article. It's available here. But he tells the real yardstick of judging who is a real American and who isn't. Don't forget that this guy spent his whole life in law enforcement. And the real yardstick is, does this person value his oath of office, where he swears to uphold and defend the Constitution, or doesn't he? And then does he act accordingly? Like Ron Paul, spent how many years in the Congress? 20 years? You look at his voting record, and he's a real American all the way through, not just by what he says, but by what he did at that voting. His voting record is 100% pro-Constitution, and lobbyists don't stop at his office anymore, because they already know ahead of time that if what they're asking for isn't specifically authorized by the Constitution, within the meaning of the 10th Amendment, that he won't vote for it anyway, so they just walk right on by. Calling Dr. No. Okay.